Hello everybody, today I'm going to be working on the math no calculator section of SAT practice test number 1. This is an official College Board practice exam, and I'd highly recommend that you probably take it yourself before watching this video. If you don't know where to find it, I'll leave a link to where you can get the printable version PDF down below in the description, so you can read that and get it. But either way, I'm not going to be doing the whole thing in one sitting, but I am going to do basically a walkthrough on how to solve every problem, and I'm going to do it in multiple parts. And this is the no calculator section, section number 3. So if you guys want, there's these equations right here. I'd personally recommend that you don't use these for reference. I don't use them because I've memorized them. By the way, guys, just to note, I haven't taken the SAT yet, but I've taken this practice test in particular quite a few times. So I'm going to be solving problems 1 through 4. And before I show them, I'd highly recommend that you take the practice exam before seeing this video. So you guys, you won't especially if you remember answers really well, then maybe your score will be a bit more accurate when you actually take the practice exam, because they will be completely new to you. But either way, let's begin. Sorry for taking a minute of time, but here we go. So here is problem number 1. I have to hold the camera and do this. So basically what I'm reading here is that I need to solve for the value of x, and we're given this and this. So what do we do from here? So all we need to do, really, we know that k is equal to 3, so we just do x minus 1 over 3. Sorry guys, this camera is making it so weird. We got 9 there. Now, you might see one of the SAT's tricks here. You see, we got x minus 1 is equal to 9. They're asking for x, right? And so you see that 9 is an answer. So one person who's maybe in a rush, like someone like me, might actually just write down 9. Somebody might circle C. But if we actually solve for x, not x minus 1, we get 10. The answer will be D. So that's how you solve number 1. Usually the ones at the beginning are quite easy, and so they aren't going to be very hard. Yeah. So the next one we have I is equal to root minus 1, and this is something called the, oh goodness, it's zoomed in. Sorry guys. It's called the imaginary number. Sorry. And what it works as, it's not really that different as you might expect, and this one in particular is pretty easy because you're just adding them. So if you know how complex numbers work, this is going to be a cinch for you. So you do 7 plus 3i. Make sure that you remember that there's this minus sign here, and then you do minus 8. So plus, it distributes, and a plus and plus make plus. Plus and minus make minus. So you got a minus 8, 9i. This will amount to 12i minus 1 plus 12i. The I coefficient is positive, and the constant out here is going to be negative. So you can actually see there is an answer, A. Next one. This is a word problem. As you can see, there's a lot of reading here. But if you've read through it, you can see Armand sent M texts each hour. So this is kind of like a rate for 5 hours. Tyrone sent P messages for 4 hours. Which of the following, so we got a bunch of expressions here. Total number of messages sent by Armand and Tyrone on Saturday afternoon. So the total number of messages, basically we add up how many they sent. We got the rate here. So I'm going to bring in something that may seem a little tangentially related, not too related. So if you've taken physics, or you just know this, you'll know that v is equal to d over t. And so in this case, this is kind of like a rate. Velocity is also a rate. And so from that, we can see m text per hour. We can do number of text messages, and we'll do hours for t instead, and then we'll get the total number of text messages. So how many did Armand send? We got m text messages. So that's m text messages per hour, sorry. So that means the rate here, and also, let's do m for messages. So, oh, that's confusing. We'll do uppercase M for messages. So we're trying to find m, and then we'll put subscript a. So we'll just multiply t and h we know 5, and they gave us a little variable m. So we'll do m a, and that is how many Armand sent, 5m. Now, keep in mind that all of these expressions, they don't ask us to solve for m. Somebody might actually try to solve for m, and they won't be able to. So, but in reality, you don't need to. So we can actually try to solve it from here. Keep in mind, total number. So we're basically taking the sum of Armand's messages and Tyrone's. So you can imagine that there's going to be some kind of addition here, especially since they have two rates, and Tyrone's rates will actually just be 4p if you solve it the same way. Now, and you're going to add these, 5m plus 4p. So you can see here, these are multiplied. This one is actually quite off, so you can take out the multiplying, and obviously you can just add them. But I'm saying, like, if you knew that they were addition but you didn't necessarily know how to solve it, you could potentially cross out these two answers this way. And then 5m, 4p, which is C. Next one. Sorry for taking so long on that one. But next one we have is Kathy is a repair technician for a phone company. Each week she receives a batch of phones that need repairs. Blah, 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 blah. So the number of phones she has to can be estimated with the equation P, where P is the number of phones, D, number of days. What is the meaning of the value of 108 in this equation? What does 108 mean? Well, if you guys know what a linear equation is, you probably do. If you've probably taken algebra before this. Sorry about the camera, but so what does 108 mean? You might notice that we usually write y is equal to mx plus b. And so mx plus b, with that, x is kind of like d here. D is the independent variable, number of days worked. This is a variable. 23 and 108, the one being multiplied to the x, or in this case d, is going to be the slope. So we know that 23 is going to be the slope, but they're not asking about 23. So we know that it's not the slope. So we can go here. Slope, by the way, it's hidden in the word rate. Rate also can mean slope. So you can cross out any of those with rate. So completes the repairs within 108 days. That's not really true, because keep in mind, this equation in total solves for P. D is the independent variable, and there's no like limit to days here. It doesn't say that. We don't get that from this equation. So really the only logical one, and if you know what a y-intercept is, which is this number actually, 108 is the y-intercept, starts the week, and then that actually kind of makes sense too, because she starts the week with 108 phones, fixes 23 per day, so it's going to be B in this case. Alright, let's go on to the next four, and after these four, I'm probably going to leave the video at this. Now you see this one, it looks like a really big equation, and it is, but it's actually much more simple. You don't need to factor it in any way, which is a pretty awesome bit. Somebody might go to the length of factoring it, but because this minus sign here, it means they're technically being subtracted. So let's find all the terms. So we need to see the exponents on the variables. So we got x squared y, x squared y. So first of all, let's find all the terms on this side of the minus sign. So x squared y minus 3 squared y, and there's no coefficients in front of it. Got 5xy squared. Then we have to distribute this minus here, and this is actually a common mistake that I make. So we have x squared y, since this minus and minus, minus 3xy squared, because minus distributes here. Then you get plus 3y squared. So now we try to combine them, and you'll notice that they're all they all have something matching. You see an x squared y, and by the way, this is plus. Sorry about that. So all of this is one expression, but we need to simplify it because none of them have 6 terms. The most they have is 3. So we need to find a way to get it down to at most 3 terms. So let's combine these x squared y. So that's going to give you just 2x squared y. And then this and this are going to combine, and actually they're just going to cancel out. 5x squared y minus 3x squared y, that's going to be 2x squared y. And you can see... Oh well, xy squared, sorry. Yeah, but yeah, you can see we got it right there. You don't need to factor it in any way, which is really cool. Typically, when they do ask you to factor it, you might see some parentheses. So it might be useful to factor when you see some parentheses in the answer, or when they ask you about anything like that. So the pediatrician. So this looks like I'm going to read. I actually read a little bit ahead. Estimated increase in inches of a boy's height each year. So we have this equation right here, a linear equation, important to note. H, height of the boy, A, age in years, between the ages 2 and 5. That doesn't look like it's too important yet, but estimated increase each year. Estimated increase each year. This hides the term slope. Sorry about the printing noise. And it can also hide rate, whichever one you remember it better by. Typically, the simpler term is slope, but when you get into higher level math, you might use rate a bit more often. But either way, either one works, and really you just need to find the slope in this equation. That's just going to be 3. And, yeah, that's basically it for that question. So this question right here, this looks huge, and it looks very daunting. So your first instinct might be to skip it, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm actually going to go... Oh wait, I thought there was a problem 8 on this page. Never mind, I'm not going to skip it. Well, that was weird to say the least. So we have M. So, okay, I'm actually not going to read this question, and gonna see if there's maybe a simpler way of solving this. For those of you who've already taken the practice test, which I hope is most of you, you guys probably know about this, if you remember. So, you can see we have all these variables here, but if you notice, which of the following gives p in terms of this? In terms of is pretty much a godsend when it comes to an SAT question, because they are incredibly simple, and they come in with the face of looking really hard, but in reality, they're some of the simplest ones out there. They're kind of easy points. They're not they are. So P gives P in terms of all of this. So all sides have P. That's kind of obvious. But then you have to basically make P go over here. Now how are you going to do that? You are going to look at these. Now, what are we going to get here? So if I just moved P over here, let's say I moved P over here. Let's say I divided both sides by P. This would cancel, so that's gone. M over P. So then, actually, I can just do it up here. So, this might take a bit of imagination because you don't want to rewrite this whole thing every time. You don't have the time for that in the SAT, especially with such a simple problem. M over P you can flip this over. That means it flips this side over. Keep in mind there's nothing here. So this side goes on top. This side goes to P over M. This side will go up here. This side, will go down there. And P over M is your resultant, and then you get M, you multiply it, and it'll go up here with this. So you can put it like that, multiply that by M, and you can see that there's actually a situation like this, where we said that this part will be on top. You can recognize it by the -1, and then the one with the exponent and the one with nothing on it will go on the bottom. Now notice that they left it virtually unchanged. You don't even need to simplify this, if you could. So M times all of this is on top, P obviously, and it's going to be B. So that's going to be it for this video, guys. I hope you did like it. If you did, please leave a like, subscribe for the next parts of this. I'm going to be doing the rest of the section. I'm sorry I took so long on these 7 questions, but I really wanted to make sure that I got the point through, that I could explain the questions, because normally sometimes people who do this don't explain. I tried to do my best to explain. I'm sorry if it wasn't the best, but like, maybe some tips and tricks are hidden in there that you guys could use. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Be sure to watch out for the next video. That's the main point. And yeah, if you guys are taking the SAT soon, good luck. We're still unsure about whether it'll happen or not. So either way, thank you guys for watching.